In 1982, workers at Clondalkin Paper Mills staged a sit-in to fight against the closure of the mill and the loss of over 400 jobs. Their struggle and success can be a lesson to workers today who are facing redundancy. The mill was situated in Clondalkin in Dublin and was the last paper mill in the Republic. It had been in operation since the early 1900s, but by 1981 the company was in liquidation, despite the mill being profitable. Workers believed the management was deliberately asset stripping the company. In January 1982, workers rejected a deal to keep the mills open, but which would see them take massive pay cuts. The deal had been negotiated with the involvement of then Labour Party leader and Taoiseach Michael O'Leary, who allowed the company to make last-minute changes to the deal, including the severe pay cuts. The company then announced the closure of the plant. The following Monday, a general meeting of all workers decided to fight to save the mill and their jobs by staging a sit-in. The workers elected committees for different areas of action, such as publicity, blacking and an occupation committee. There were weekly meetings of all workers, and the new occupation committee was elected to replace the old shop stewards. The workers organised delegations to other factories to ask for solidarity, and collections were organised in factories up and down the country. Dock workers in all the ports refused to handle imported paper in support of the occupation. The whole community of Clondalkin rallied behind the workers, and there were numerous solidarity events and fundraisers. The workers also supported and linked up with the growing movement of the unemployed. The workers were members of different unions, and the various unions often took different positions when it came to the struggle. On various occasions, the ITGWU, the forerunner of SIPTU, instructed other members to pass picket lines, for example at a secondary picket in Sagart. The strength of the occupation was that ultimately decisions were made by mass meetings of the workers, not the union officials. Political support for the strike mainly came in the form of empty promises. The occupation stretched across 3 governments, and in the spring, the reopening of the plant formed part of the Gregory deal between Fianna Fáil and independent TD Tony Gregory. But by October, nothing had happened and the government fell, making way for a Fine Gael Labour government. In January 1983, the plant was sold by the liquidator, and the new owner got injunctions to force the workers to leave. But they defied the injunctions, facing jail sentences. The solidarity movement grew pace, and faced with major solidarity strikes and the jailing of workers, the government finally gave in and bought the plant. But when the government refused to open the mill as a state-owned enterprise, the struggle continued with a hunger strike by 2 of the workers that lasted 2 weeks. The mills were then bought by a Canadian company and was in operation until 1987. The Clondalkin Paper Mills occupation is one of many examples of how workers can fight and win when faced with closure or redundancies. Workers today can learn from the remarkable organisation of the workers and the mass involvement in decision-making throughout the strike.